There's guidance here for us in every moment, but there's a lot of times where we go through our life really just thinking we're on our own and kind of
Yeah.
mustering through on our own, when if we could get really comfortable with asking, listening, receiving, our lives could be completely different. Welcome to Energetics with Kim and Veronica, where we invite you to nourish the energy of your inner why, your inner healing, magic, prosperity, your curiosity, clarity, playfulness. Welcome home. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Energetics podcast. I'm Veronica, and I'm joined by my lovely partner, Kim. Hello, Kim.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Miss Veronica.
Hello. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. We're so excited to dive into another topic with all of you. And we thought we'd dive into the conversation about the different facets of our brain in kind of a more simplistic way, not a complex scientific look at it. But, we go through life really aligning with our thoughts and aligning with the perception that our brain, that our mind presents to us. And it's almost like that's our identity. And there's kind of three different facets that I thought maybe we could dive into today. And one is that we often think that our mind, that our brain is the conceiver of ideas. So when we go to look for solutions, or we're thinking things, we think that we are conceiving, when actually our brain is a receiver. It's a processor, and it's receiving from our higher mind, our spirit, the unseen realm, whatever that looks like for you, right? So I'd like to avoid the labels, but sometimes we need some context. So let's just call it the higher mind or the higher self. Our spirit, our soul, our essence is the one that's actually conceiving the ideas. And our physical brain receives the ideas, and our physical mind perceives the ideas. And this is helpful because when we're really trying to conjure up ideas or thoughts, either to solve a problem or to make a change or whatnot, what we want to do instead of focusing on creating the thoughts is to create the receptivity to the thoughts from our higher mind. We're actually not conceiving the thoughts, we're receiving them. And so this is something that like I say, Kim and I always we've explored things for decades, and we come and go on certain things. And this is something that I've been personally playing with deeply a lot lately, is really listening, and really actively listening, not in a way that I'm listening and hearing a voice in my head, but just the act of listening alone, listening to my body, listening to the higher guidance, and really just practicing, kind of activating the muscle, strengthening the muscle of listening. And what's been happening for me is I've been getting a lot of really interesting ideas, not happening in the moment that I'm listening, but that are coming through my day, that maybe wouldn't have come if I wasn't kind of turning on that listening mode. And so it's, I think, a really interesting contemplation and consideration where we use our mind, or we rely on our mind thinking that it's the creator, the conceiver of ideas. But what if it was the receiver and the processor? And instead of trying to force the creation of ideas, what if instead we could really become active listeners and receivers and allow the conceptions to come to us?
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for that. So receiving the inspiration, right? And then the mind, of course, wants to try to figure it out and do all those kinds of things. It wants it to make sense of it, right? And so how would you say that you're able to distinguish between your mind coming up with something and you receiving an inspiration? Is there a distinction there for you?
Well, I think we're always receiving, right? But sometimes, because our mind is never actually conceiving or creating the ideas, so sometimes it's recycling, right? But in terms of what is coming through as receptivity, for me, it usually comes in times when I'm not really trying to think about something,
Right.
right? So I'm doing something completely different. I'm taking a shower, or I'm, doing something where I'm not trying to come up with a solution to a problem, and all of a sudden, I'll get like a hit. It'll be like an
Yep.
idea that comes that drops in. That's why I kind of think the term download is so often used, right? That's kind of it's just a drop when I'm not in the moment. So say I'm having a problem with my husband and it's like something that I want to figure out. How do I talk to him about it? How do I come up with a solution to a problem I'm having with him? And instead of trying to think about, what conversation I might have with him or how I might treat the situation differently, I go into listening. And for me, I've been really listening to my body lately. So I let my body know I'm listening, I'm listening, I'm listening. And I really go into the listening as though you're going to hear something, but it's not a hearing. I don't hear any voices. I don't even receive any ideas in the moment that I'm actively listening. I just practice listening. And then all of a sudden I'll be going along my day and an idea drops in and it's like, oh, okay. That's not something that I tried to conjure up. It's something that
Right.
just dropped in, if you will. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's when we're often doing those mundane tasks. So when we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure things out, we know that we're in our own way of those awarenesses being able to show up because we're so busy adding the logical or trying to figure it all out. We get in our own way. And so yeah, often for me it's the what is that? There's nobody here and there's something going on over there. I'm
Are you
listening. Yeah,
listening? Are you
I'm listening.
listening?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so it almost sounded like there was like a squirrel in the house or something. Anyway, I'll deal with you later. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Like that's often, I like I tend to use the analogy of like the mundane tasks when we're like in the shower. A lot of people seem to receive wisdom, information, downloads, awarenesses in the shower. It can be like, scrubbing a toilet. It can be like when you're doing those mundane things, and just kind of not trying to figure things out. Again, when we're trying to figure things out, we're trying to use the brain in that logical way. And my awareness is when those ahas show up, they typically and often it's something I might not have been able to figure out. Like you said, I think you used the words, it just kind of drops in, right? And then we get to go, and those are those aha moments. It's like I could not have made that stuff up, right? And you often see on social media people saying you can't make this shit up, right? And it's that kind of stuff. Yeah, I love that. I love that. So yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
again, I love how you explained in the beginning how it's not the mind that's receiving the wisdom. It's actually what words did you use there? It's actually our infinite being, our higher self, our spirit, our essence, whatever you want to call that, that is receiving it when we allow the mind to get out of the way. And the mind is a great thing too, right? Because the mind can then help us to put things into action, meaning, okay, this is the first thing, that's the second thing. But yeah, I love this topic. Thank you for bringing this to the table today. Like you said, typically we have like a 5-minute discussion before we get on a call, but we were both running a little late and it was kind of like, yeah, pick something, let's do it. Which is
Why
kind of
not?
how
Yeah.
we roll anyway. It really
It
is. It
is.
is like it's
Yeah,
not
it
like
is.
we have everything mapped out when we get onto these. We just kind of go, "Hey, what do you think of this topic? Yeah, let's go. Where's it going to go? I don't know. Let's see." And
Let's
that's
see.
what I
Yeah.
love about this. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And like kind of talking about the shower thing, you hear about that a lot from folks, right? Oh, it came to me in the shower. And an awareness that dropped in for me, and probably Kim, for, this is something you maybe have more insight into than I do, is that, a few years ago, it really dropped in for me that water is a conduit of
Mm,
communication. And so as you spend time in water, if you're, having a bath, or if you go swimming in the lakes or whatnot, like it really, that awareness dropped in for me a few years ago that it is a conduit. It's actually an easier path through which the unseen forces can communicate to us. And so that's often why in the showers or in the bath or whatnot, you get those hits, you get those downloads, because the conduit is a little bit easier through the water
Right.
somehow.
I love that. And also, like, water is very much like it tends to be flowing, and, so that can help. So, one of the things I love to do this time of year, it's spring where I'm at in Nova Scotia. One of the things I love to do is go around the waterfalls, because the waterfalls are flowing, right? They've been frozen all winter and now they're flowing. And we've been here all winter, so to speak. And so I just find that by going to a waterfall with those rushes of energy and the water flowing, because we are also made up of how much water, I hear different numbers all the time. So we're made up of a bunch of water, right? Well, when I'm near a waterfall or a river or a lake or an ocean or anything like that, and it's moving, it contributes to the movement of the fluids within me, because we are connected and we are also nature. So that water and my water, they kind of go, oh, you're moving. Yeah. What about you? Okay. Looks good. Let's dance. Right. And so I find that it's just really helpful to be around that flowing kind of water of any version, even if it is the water in the shower. Right. It's a movement, and yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's
And that
fun.
activates it within us. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, so I think even the awareness that it's not your mind that's doing the conjuring, the conceiving, the creating of the ideas. And what if, when we think about geniuses, what if we think about like the Einsteins of the world? What if they really were just really strong at receiving? And that,
Yes, a
when
hundred
we
percent.
yeah. And so if we can, contemplate that and really consider how we can actively start strengthening that receiving muscle, which can be as simple as I'm listening, and listening with the mind versus the ears, and just practicing the listening. And I don't receive anything in the moment. Some people maybe do, like they start to hear things or receive ideas in the
Right.
moment. I don't. For me, it's delayed, and so it looks different for everyone. But even just starting to practice and strengthen that muscle might create more creativity in your life, might bring more solutions to you to problems, or more things that you want to bring to or birth to life. Might the paths might become clearer through the ideas that drop into you as you start to strengthen that receptivity.
I love it. And also for me, my awareness around all of that is also, yeah, gotta do the ask, right? For me, it's like when I do the ask, then something will show up. As you said, it might be in that moment and it might not. When I work with my team or whatever you want to call that, and I do an ask almost like that, I have an awareness and I go, oh, so I can be in communication, in communion that way with all of it. And at the same time, if I'm asking for something, you got to make the phone call. It's almost like picking up your cell phone, holding it and going, Mom, Mom, how come she's not responding? Hello, Mom. Oh, I forgot to call. I forgot to put in the ask. I forgot to dial the number. So it's like that. That's how I find it for me. It's like, yeah, the ask and you shall receive thing, right? And it is the ask, and like I said, when I'm curious about, often for me it'll show up snap of the fingers. But hey, when I'm looking and asking for something to actualize, that doesn't usually show up in the moment, right? But when I'm looking for what is this kind of thing, like often for me that will show up when it comes to like, hey, looking for the people to do this with me. That might not show up in the moment. So that is part of the listening, as you so beautifully called it. And that could be listening to, oh, you know what, for whatever reason, I'm being drawn to go here today, but I never go there. Oh, but I'm being really drawn to go there today, but I never go there. I'm going to go there today because I'm drawn, and I go, and perhaps the whatever I was asking for is there. So I was listening. It didn't make any sense for me to go wherever, right? And yet when I went, I was like, oh my God, okay. And I never come to the conclusion of that's what it was all about. No, I keep going, and what else? And what else? Right. But yeah, there's the listening, like you said. Thank you for bringing this topic up. This is awesome. There's the listening, and then there's also more listening. If I'm doing an ask and then I get this aha next week to go to this thing, well, I'm going to go. So I've gotten really good at going anyway. And it's like, that's not even something I would do. And I go, and oh my God, there's somebody or something there for me that is like, are you kidding me right now? Wow. And here I thought it was, so yeah, I've learned to follow those and to listen to that for sure.
Yeah, you're right. That's key. And I like that you bring that up about the asking, like there's guidance here for us in every moment. But there's a lot of times where we go through our life really just thinking we're on our own and kind of
Yeah.
mustering through on our own, when if we could get really comfortable with asking, listening, receiving, our lives could be completely different. And I've noticed for me it's been life changing to really
Yeah.
incorporate that into how I be.
Yeah, and there's the thing of when you're asking, don't do the ask. This is what's true for me. This resonates with me. Don't not doing the ask from a place of I don't want this to happen and I don't want that to happen. It's asking from a place of what it is you'd like to actualize, not what you don't want. Oh, I don't want it to rain tomorrow. Okay, so what is it that you'd like to experience instead? Okay, wouldn't it be nice if tomorrow was sunny? And guess what? If everything is in alignment and this part of the earth doesn't need rain, boom, I'm in alignment with that. But yeah, it's about not asking from the place of what you don't want. It's asking from that place of what it is you'd like to actualize, and also being in alignment with, oh my God, wouldn't that be nice? What if? Not of, yeah, I'd like to have that. It'll never happen. Yeah, okay. The universe has your back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and that's such a brilliant question that, I know you use a lot, Kim, is what would I like to experience instead? What would I choose to experience instead? Whenever you're noticing that you're focusing on, asking for what you don't want, to shift it with that and get the flip side of what you truly desire.
Right. And listening and
And
following
listening.
that and following that,
Hmm.
be it taking that sometime that blind leap, right? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
And yet I'm going to blah, blah today, but I never go to blah, blah. I'm going to blah, blah today. Right. And I'm not looking for anything when I'm there either, by the way. I'm just going to experience going to this place, or whatever. But
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you so
Ah.
much. Thank you, Kim. That was a good little riff, and we really appreciate anyone who's willing to subscribe, share, like, comment, all the things that helps us to get out there. So we appreciate all of that. And if you have any questions on this topic or comments or thoughts, you're welcome to share in any of the platforms. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Kim, and we will talk to you next time.
Kissing you next
Bye.
time.
Bye.